pointing at you, by the way.
And we're live.
Right. Good evening, everybody. This is the Wednesday, August 17th, 2022, regular meeting of the Oregon City Commission. And before we get started, we will have with the agenda, we will have the roll call.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell is excused tonight. Commissioner Adam Marl. Here. Commissioner Rocky Smith. Here. And Commission President Denise McGriff.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So we have no proclamations tonight, but we have some that are coming up. We don't have any ceremonies tonight. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to make a comment under item number 4, citizen comments? Matt stood up.
Oh.
Excuse me just one moment like that. Sorry. It's okay. Who says that we do not have fun here, ladies and gentlemen? Unlike previous commissions, we have a lot more fun. All right, so I will regain my composure. We have a presentation tonight, and who is going to introduce this? Is that you, Mr. Conkle? Oh, it's Chief Band.
Well, yes, actually, it's the VFW's making a presentation, and they were going to be presenting a check, so I'll call them forward to go ahead and talk about what this is about, and then you guys can present the check, if that's okay.
I see Larry pointing at people, so people are pointing.
Yeah.
Yes,
right
Mr. Arnold, come forward, please, Commander. Are you accepting the check on our behalf, Chief Band? Or are we accepting the check? I don't know who's accepting the check.
Whoever they want to give it to. I think to the police department.
Chief,
Yes.
we'll give it to you.
Okay, so
Okay.
come on up, everybody.
right.
Everybody that's coming up from the VFW, please have a seat. Just remember, just name for the record.
All right. I'm Greg Arnold, commander of the VFW Post 1324 in Oregon City. Commissioner McGriff, Commissioner Smith, Chief Band, Captain Davis, and Dan Haynes, and to all in attendance here, good evening. As most of you know, Three Rivers VFW Post 1324 here in Oregon City holds an annual VFW Buddy Poppy Relief Fund Drive from May 20th to the 30th. All proceeds go to various veteran programs. We sincerely thank the citizens of Oregon City for their generosity, without which we could not make these funds available. Last year, VFW Post 1324 made 2 significant donations, one to the USS Oregon Commissioning Committee and one for the restoration project of the Veterans Memorial Plaza at the Mountain View Cemetery. This year, our post consensus was a significant donation towards homeless veterans. When we heard about Officer Dan Haynes' outreach to homeless veterans in Oregon City area, we knew that this was where we would like to make our contribution. This keeps our relief funds in our community, helping those veterans who need help, getting them off the street and back on their feet. It is our post's honor to give to the Oregon City Police Department this check in the amount of $5,000 so that Officer Dan Haynes can use it for immediate assistance to homeless veterans. And in the future, if there is a need, Three Rivers VFW Post 1324 is standing by to assist where we can. And so without further ceremony or words from me, I'd like to make the presentation.
Commander
Okay, can I
Arnold,
say something real quick?
Sure.
And then
before
maybe
you do,
we'll grab a picture.
Chief Band,
Sure.
before you do, we forgot that we have Commissioner Morrow who is on
Yeah.
Zoom. So you mentioned both of us, so I just want to make sure you knew he was still there. So he's up there in the corner. There he is. Commissioner Morrow.
Oh, greetings, sir. I did not see you here, so forgot about Zoom.
So I just wanted to say it's sort of a thank you to the VFW Post that they wanted to make this presentation, and we thought it would be better to have here just because it's important, I think, for the community to know the work that the VFW is doing. I get phone calls, emails from them all the time about ways that they can help us. DJ keeps me on my toes. If our flag is frayed this much out front, I don't care the hour, I'm getting a message from DJ. But he also just a minute ago said something that's very true, is that they always have our back. So they're a huge support to us, and they're always looking out for veterans. So thank you very much for the check, and I think it'd be great if we could grab a photo or two right up here.
Okay.
Maybe with you guys come down too.
Have the official photographer, Ms. O'Reilly.
You could break it down.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Great work.
All right.
All right, before we move on to the next item, thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Wiley, you have an introduction for us, don't you?
I'd like to introduce Angelique Nomi, our new Assistant City Recorder.
Welcome, welcome, and thank you. We appreciate it. I know that Lisa and Jacob are very happy that you're here. And welcome to our meetings. All right, do we have anything on the consent agenda that we'd like to have removed, or would we like to have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that this consent agenda be approved. I will just make one brief comment about 7E. This has been something that was near and dear to the late Karen Morey. And thank you to Justin Moore and to Kendall Reed and his other staff people for helping move this forward. Cool. I myself this past year have some milkweed in my yard, and the butterflies are just having a grand old time, including the bees. So would you call the roll?
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
and Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I will say 7F brought back, that was like a blast from the past, because I think I was still on the planning commission when that, in 2016, when that, I was reading that and going, I remember that. So thank you for catching that and getting us caught up so that we've approved all the meeting notes and all that.
And that's
All right.
Angelique, hard at work.
It's what?
That is Angelique, hard at work.
Okay, thank you for catching that. All right, so we have item number 8, which is public hearings. We have resolution number 22-29, which is rescinding resolution 1327 and adopting new Oregon City street tree species list. And I believe that's going over to community development. Or is that Parks and Recreation? No, he's going, no.
That is me, that is community
You're
development.
disavowing any connection to this whatsoever. But you have all the trees in the parks, Mr. Reed, so.
That's right, yeah.
So you're in by just by default. You're in it by default.
All right, thank you. I do have a presentation to run through. And So while Jacob's finding that, look how quick that is. So the purpose of tonight's hearing is for you to consider the materials and recommendation from the Natural Resource Committee and approve Resolution 22-29, which is adopting a revised street tree species list. That's a tongue twister for some reason. And then the second part of what I'm hoping to get from you is some direction about moving forward with recommended code changes that the Natural Resource Committee made. So this came about last year when the City Commission asked the Natural Resource Committee to take a look at the street tree list and start reviewing it and look at it for items like climate change and species that were causing damage to sidewalks and identifying the minimum planter widths, as well as reviewing the city's standard planting detail. So the Natural Resource Committee started that discussion last August, and then they finalized it in February with a new street tree list. And then if you'll remember back in June, our chair and vice chair from the Natural Resource Committee came and presented that list and some of their recommendations. So they did quite a bit of research, mostly done by the vice chair, Samantha Wolf, in looking at the street tree species. And she contacted multiple state departments and consulted lists from neighboring cities in terms of what are good street tree types. And so they made their recommendation based on what kind of trees could withstand different changes from the climate, trees that did well in heat and ice. And they looked at the size of the trees, above ground and below ground, and so what would fit best in certain planter sizes. They looked at removing some trees that appeared to be overplanted. On the list itself, they actually just put it on a hiatus, so they can come back at a later time, but not to be planted for a while because they've been overplanted. When they looked at the various widths of planter strips, they came up with a number of different recommendations for each of those, and that's what this table is showing, is how many options there are for each planter width throughout the city. So you can see there's quite a range of variety that people will be able to choose from. Some of the code changes that they recommended are to no longer require replanting of street trees in planter strips with widths that are less than 3 feet. And they did look at what trees are appropriate in that width should property owners want to replant. They also recommended that when planter strips are 3 feet or less, that a property owner not be required to replant on their private property or pay a fee in lieu. This last bullet is actually not a code change, but a recommendation that a street tree inventory take place. And if that can't occur, because it's quite an undertaking, that the list should at least be reviewed every 10 years.
I thought it was less than that.
I thought we said we wanted it way less than that.
Yeah, I thought that Nancy was suggesting it was going to, I'm remembering that very clearly, that it was going to be less than 10 years. We talked about 3 to 5.
So we can document that as 5 years, that there isn't really a place that lives, but we can document that the recommendation is for, 5 years from now to review that list.
With our track record and the number of problems we've had in the last 5 years, I'd say every year or every 5 years is too much.
I would say that the first round of review should be after 3 years to see if this is actually working.
Yeah.
And then maybe do it every 5 years after that. But it seems to me Natural Resources could bring it up. They ought to have the ability to bring it back if they feel that there is a need and that the 5 years is not hard and fast.
we can bring that back to them and document that in a way that we remember in the next 3 years to come back and look at that. The code change work plan essentially will start with some communications and some public outreach and talking to our various commissions and committee outreach to let them know what the changes would look like. And then we would come back at a work session and just provide an update about what kind of feedback we heard from that communication, and then start that legislative change process early next year.
But we can adopt the list.
Correct. We're
Okay.
adopting the list tonight. Well,
Yeah.
that's why we're here, for you to make that decision. And then we would move forward with the actual changes to code. And that's what this slide is all about, is what your options are tonight. So we are looking for you to approve that resolution, and kind of in a separate action, provide direction to either move ahead with making some of those code changes or not. And that is my presentation.
Commissioner Morrow, any thoughts?
I would just like to give a shout out once more to Ms. Wolf and Ms. Broshot and the entire NRC for their great work on this. I'm really excited that we will hopefully right some past wrongs here. And, I was just listening the other day. We've got a lot of changes happening, as I think that you guys have it warmer than I have it over here. And so it looks like I escaped at the right time, but all that to say that things are changing, and I'm glad that we're updating this list to keep up with it. And thank you.
Are you okay with saying that the first review should occur within 3 years?
Yeah.
I agree with you on the fact that, we kind of let this go too long, and we have unintended consequences that we didn't mean to have happen because of this. I say we collectively, not us specifically, but we collectively. But I like the idea of the talking to the public and public outreach as much as we can. Obviously, there's some people that are, if you touch a tree, the world will end, and other people's like, let's mow them down. So we'll come to some happy medium, I hope, with regard to that. But I feel very comfortable in us adopting the street tree list and moving forward with getting the code changed. So that would be option 1. I see Adam shaking his head yes with that as well. I know people in Park Place went, what tree am I supposed to be planting? And I said, well, you got the list, but it's not official yet. So, you're okay with that too? All right, looks like we have consensus, and so we need a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 22-29, rescinding resolution number 13-27, and adopting a new Oregon City street tree species list.
Okay, well,
Second.
Mr. Kabizman, do you need to read this?
No, this is a resolution.
Okay, yay, okay. All right, let's do the roll call.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
and Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I concur with your statement, Adam, that the committee has done yeoman's work, and I'm so excited that we're going to be able to get this moving forward. All right, so we're on to item 9, general business. So we have item 9A. I don't know if we really need an introduction. It's pretty self-explanatory. And the commission just needs to take a vote on it correct?
Yep, that's correct. Yes, we'll be happy to answer any questions you have or assist with your motion.
Do we have any questions regarding the request?
No, I'll move to approve the request for leave of absence for Commissioner O'Donnell. It's for up to 60 days.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Let's have the roll call.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you so much for that. Let's move on to 9B. We have the Clackamas Park Master Plan, where there are trees in Clackamas Park.
Lots of them.
And water in Clackamas Park.
City Commissioners, it's our pleasure to be here tonight to talk about the topic of the Clackamas Park Master Plan. We received a lot of great feedback from our last joint work session with the City Commission and PRAC. Tonight, we're presenting the revisions to the plan, and we hope to have that the plan reviewed and approved tonight by the City Commission. It's my pleasure to introduce Kurt and Brian of Lango-Hanson.
Thanks, Kendall. And as Kendall mentioned, we had a very productive joint work session just over a month ago. I think it was July 12th here with the commission as well as PRAC present. And along with some really good feedback, there were a couple outstanding issues that either needed further clarification or a little bit more research. So we've been spending some time over the past month looking a little bit further into those, and we'll present on a couple specific issues tonight. So I just want to spend a quick minute, bring everybody back up to speed, a little refresher on the master plan that was presented last month, up on the screen right now. Starting at the main entries, you'd come into the park on Clackamas Drive. There, the intersection with Main Street is reconfigured into a T intersection. So it's a three-way stop. Then entering into the park, there's a kind of a gateway entry experience. The parking lot's reconfigured. You enter through automobile parking, which has the sport courts just to the east, the play area just to the west of that. Continuing through the parking lot, there's a larger trailer parking leading to what is the existing boat ramp now that will be transferred to human-powered craft launch. And then the proposed boat launch location, 350 feet downstream, still located on the Clackamas River, with accessible boat parking adjacent to that. Briefly, the RV park has been relocated to the lot on the east side of Clackamas Drive, freeing up several acres within the park itself, which is converted into a large open lawn space there fronting the Willamette River. And then also throughout the park are over 1.5 miles of trails, sinuously connecting to various points on and off site. And there's just a couple of issues that we wanted to address tonight and provide further clarification starting on the next slide. One of the questions that came up from Troy Bollinger, the chair for PRAC last time, was just looking at if we compare the existing conditions on site with what the proposed plan shows, how much green space exists and how much is proposed. So instead of just a wholesale green space, we decided to be a little bit more accurate to break it down into a few categories of lawn and then shrubs and trees. And then also, it's not green space, but more of an open space pedestrian plaza category. So just going through each of those categories, the existing, there's about 8 acres of lawn area out in the park. The proposed, that's increased to 8.7 acres. The shrub area, shrubs and trees, essentially remains the same between the existing conditions and the proposed. The really big caveat that's totally worth noting there is that those areas are being completely replanted with native and climate adaptive species, perhaps influenced by the last street tree issue that we were just speaking towards. So that provides, as we mentioned before, there's that upwards of 8 acres of mitigation opportunity throughout the park. So in total, and one last category is the pedestrian plaza. There's no real area dedicated right now to plaza space within Clackamas Park, and those areas in orange around the play area, around the sport court on the other side of the parking lot, and then fronting the existing boat launch area. That adds up to about 1.1 acres of plaza space. So in total, it's 1.8 acres of green space and open space that's increasing over the existing park right now. So on the next slide, wanted to touch on the RV park and mainly focusing in on the dump station and the queuing and some of the circulation concerns that were brought up at the last meeting. What we've done, I don't have a pointer, but at the upper right of that plan, there's an orange dot, and that represents the dump station. Previously, it was farther to the left, closer to Main Street, and we've shifted it further into the site and removed some of the overflow auto parking that was on the east side of the driveway there. So really opening up that for queuing on site. The existing condition as it is with the dump station, there's room for about 3 medium-sized RVs to queue on site. This really opens it up so there's space for 6 or 7 full-length RVs to queue on site. And it also allows them to be out of the way of the boat trailer parking that's across the way from them.
Before you move on, could you actually explain, maybe everybody else knows this, so what are the mechanics of the RV dump station? Is it like a big septic holding tank? Is that basically what it is, or does it go into the sewer?
I think it is hard pipe to the sewer itself.
Okay.
Yeah, and then goes to the treatment facility. So basically you come up with your rig and connect and
it just
discharge.
Yeah, obviously you can tell I
Yeah.
don't have an RV, so.
What's that?
I said you can tell I don't have an RV.
That's okay.
So is it conceivable that it's only one at a time? Or have we ever
Utilizing the
had,
dump station itself.
yeah, or have we ever had more than one?
Oh, yes.
We used to have more than one,
Oh, no, I thought, never mind.
not necessarily, but have we ever had 2 ways that 2 spaces where you could, like gasoline stations?
Yeah, I don't
They
think-
have multiple pumps.
So it's set up as there's that one location where you're actually actively utilizing it and everybody behind you is just queuing.
Queuing,
to
okay.
use it.
Yeah.
Thought maybe it might speed it up if there was more than one.
And I apologize, Brian, if you mentioned it, but currently there's 3 queuing spaces, and we're doubling the amount of
Right, yeah,
queuing spaces here.
when we were down there for the groundbreaking, people were queuing, and some of them had very long I guess there were RVs, and they were blocking part of Main Street, which was not
Yeah.
really good,
Yeah.
because they were all lined up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the issue I brought up. I'm actually struggling to figure out how there's room for 7 there, especially looking at the parking. It was within the last several weeks that the lineup was all the way from Clackamas Park, all the way to the the exit of the McDonald's parking lot. So that's a regular basis. So even if you had to pace for 12 or 10, I don't think you can line 7 trucks and trailers up in that small space that you're showing. Even if you tried to compare it with the parking spaces for trailers, you line 7 of those up, it doesn't make sense to me. It also doesn't make sense how you're going to have all these trailers pulling in and then backing their trucks out towards the people that are lined up in the queue station at the RV dump. I have no ability to comprehend how that would work.
You're talking about these spaces right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
These people could be backing out trailers and I don't buy it. I don't buy that it works. I think it'll cause even more of a problem than we have now. And the other thing I'll say is I was kind of going along with this idea that shrinking the RV park was maybe not a bad idea because maybe it wasn't being used as much, but it's packed.
I know.
I mean, you go down to the current RV, and I think this current conception is half the size of what our current RV park is. It's packed right now. So I really think this is a problem. And I will say that I never thought I would vote to support an RV, or I never thought I would vote to support a master plan for Clackamas Park. We're getting close. Because this has been a discussion in this park for years. I have a lot of feelings about this park. I feel like you've done an excellent job, but I'm still having a hard time I love the layout, I think, for the most part of the park. I'm struggling with moving the RV park, but I can concede to that. I'm struggling with the downsizing of our RV park, but right now the sticking point is this dumping station. I don't know how it works within this concept, and I know that, I mean, I would even try to rethink outside the box of a place where we could put it that's not right in the confines of the park.
I was just gonna ask that
I mean,
question.
whether it's across the underneath farther up Main Street on space that we own behind Firestone, or I don't know, but I can't, my knowledge of that place and driving by it as much as we do and seeing it, I just don't see how this works. And that's enough for me to not support this. So that's the big factor that's still waiting for me to comprehend, I guess. The other piece is, I asked a little bit about this in terms of park access, but those paths in the park are envisioned to be asphalt, I assume?
Asphalt or concrete.
And how wide?
They,
Probably 8 feet wide.
8 feet.
88, so 88
Okay,
access.
vehicle accessible though?
Yeah, and
And
that was something that we briefly touched on at the last joint session, was making sure that there's vehicular grade so that the maintenance vehicles can be out there.
Because I think that's one, that I think is a huge piece too. And those, I think we have to assume that if this park is gonna meet the needs of, I would love to see them 10 feet. But if 8 feet is conducive to, because when we're thinking about this, if the public is saying, and it's clear in some of the work we've done, is saying, this is our park for major city events. Well, major city events mean not just someone having a pop-up tent in the back of their Honda and driving through the park. It means big trucks. And so I'm not sure 8 feet's enough. So I think that those are the sticking points for me, the dump station and this idea of, if this is gonna be a major event kind of park, then we need to be making sure that, fairly large vehicles have access to that park which, is helpful to us now, because right now there's only one main street through the center of the park, and prior to, at least in the past events, we've had trucks that very much have to drive through the grass, and we try to avoid that as much as possible, but, so I'll leave it at that. Those are my two things, and right now I don't think we're acknowledging, the RV dump is the big one, though. I'm not visioning it.
Adam, you want to add anything?
I will just say that I agree with Commissioner Smith on the preparation for vehicles on there. I think for me, the way I envision the future of this park is for a place where we can have large city gatherings. I touched briefly in our last meeting about my several experiences the last few months at Willamette Park in West Lynn. And I think that Clackamas Park has a lot of potential to be something like that, where we can hold big events like concerts in the park. So I would agree with Commissioner Smith on that. And as it relates to the RV dump station, I think that I do agree with where it is placed on this. I don't want us to continually be battling with the Willamette River every flood season. But I do want to seriously the concerns brought up by him. I don't go down there very often, but I would like to have that issue of the lineup and the queuing addressed more before we move forward.
Is there a possibility that, so we've got I guess let me look at the top map here. So we've got, so maybe Jacob with the arrow, we can point out to where McDonald's is.
So they have an exit that's pretty much
Okay,
right here.
that's that. I'm looking at the map that's shows I'm looking at the green space one.
yeah, that
Okay,
first one,
but the
yeah.
other ones. Okay, so McDonald's is right there.
And their exit.
Yeah. So, no, they're right to the right adjacent to the roadway
Okay,
right
right
there.
there. And that's that whole piece?
Well,
except for this.
no, McDonald's takes up 2/3 of that space.
Okay,
And then 1/3 is the city-owned property.
okay. where you go out to turn back onto Clackamas Drive.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
Clackamas Drive.
That's Dunes Drive.
Dunes Drive, Dunes Drive. Okay. So do we have an option to take a look at property that we own in the area that we could relocate the dump station outside of this RV park area like Rocky says? Because I think that's problematic. I want to say that, people are going to be reasonable and everybody's going to be supportive of coming in and out of that. But, sometimes people are just going through town. They know there's a dump station. They come in, they're just dumping and then they're gone. But what we want to try to do is create a good experience for people who are RVing at the RV park without having all of that queuing and people, idling, because it's, I'm thinking a lot of fumes, a lot of cars just sitting there, trucks sitting there. So I'm wondering if there's an option to put it outside of this, but adjacent.
We have had conversations about that because of the issues that you brought up. And we would be open to that option. And we think that that would be a great option to alleviate some of the issues that we have currently with locating the dump station there.
Right. And plus, I've been down there, I'm sure you've been down there when people are dumping their sewage. If you're renting an RV spot to someone that's 20 feet from someone dumping their sewage. I mean, who would want to do that? Nobody. I wouldn't want to be there. And actually, it's even worse now that I look at
thumbs up, Mr. Lewis?
Look at this. I was thinking about this. So current dump station is about at the top part of where that court is on our map.
Right.
So what I'm saying is right now they're lining up all the way down Main Street, around that corner, all the way to McDonald's. So it's even, but this, looking at this, the reconfiguration of Main Street makes that even more worse, because if they back up onto Main Street, they're only going to be able to, they won't be able to back up, or they won't be able to line up and queue around that corner if we change that intersection the way it is here. So it's even makes that problem worse.
Makes it worse.
Because you don't have a turn lane in the center. You have a turn lane of part of Main Street, but as you go up Clackamas Drive, there isn't. So let's say someone's stuck at that intersection waiting, you're going to back everyone up all Clackamas Drive all the way to Dunes or beyond. So I think we need to rethink it, that piece of it.
I like the RV park part.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like with Kendall that we can explore it off of this site and have that queuing capacity, I believe.
Okay, that sounds terrific. I think we're all kind of in agreement with that. Anything else?
And having the opportunity.
Go ahead.
Okay, and having the opportunity to bring back that overflow parking would be beneficial as well. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds like we're down to two issues, which is terrific.
Well, the one issue is the width of the pathways, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and
I think we can
maybe
deal with
8
that.
feet is sufficient. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I've driven my car on it.
Because we recently had some conversations specifically about our sites that hold bigger events like EOT and making sure that we create paths that can absorb the impact of cars and trucks. So that was something that we had already talked about that's going to be incorporated into the design. So if the 8 feet is substantial, I think that could be addressed.
Is concrete really our only option, or are there other environmentally friendly options that might be out there? I know that they probably will cost a little more, but.
I'm sorry, you said regarding path material? Well, for the Filbert Run Park that was just finished, that uses a permeable or concrete paving, so that when surface runoff hits that, it filtrates into the ground. And so we're seeing that more and more often. So I think that would.
I just couldn't think of where it was at the moment. I thought, okay, it's got to be someplace we were there recently.
Yeah.
Filbert Run, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we start to develop, or we already are developing the narrative, we can make recommendations for that
Awesome.
type of
Yeah.
gesture.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Okay, thank you. That was fantastic. Anything else, Mr. Morrow? Okay, let's move on. Thank you so much.
So just.
Oh, one more thing, sorry.
Yeah, just wanting some clarity. So we've discussed, we've addressed the issue with the path and with removal of the RV dump station to another location. Would you approve the plan as it sits with that removal?
I could.
So we're fine moving
Could you,
forward with the
Adam?
removal of the RV dump station.
Would you feel inclined to support the plan with those two caveats?
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets me close. I don't know if it gets me quite there. I still really am struggling over the fact that we have a full RV park that's twice the size of this and not very nice.
The RV park is twice the size of this. I thought this was,
Well, close to, I think.
I thought this was going to be about the same size. I mean, in terms
No,
of number of
I
spaces.
think it's, well, it might not be exactly half.
It's smaller, yeah.
It's smaller, okay.
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
So, I mean, we're going to turn people away, plus it's going to be
Well-
a nicer RV park, so I don't,
Maybe this gets turned
Yeah, I
into
don't
some
know.
RV spaces instead of these, whatever.
yeah, but then you still have the issue of the trailer parking.
All
I
right.
don't think I can support it yet, but, and I don't know how many, can you get anything done with two people anymore on the commission, right? Probably not.
Well, we might. We're getting closer, so let's figure out how we can get closer, but let's move on to the next item. Looking at our time.
Sorry?
I said I'm looking at our time, being cognizant of the time.
Okay.
So what I need,
You need more
I need direction, because I have two people who support it, and one who has some concerns in regards to the size of the RV park. So how am I supposed to proceed?
Well, that's why I just asked, if you only need 2 votes, which I doubt, assuming you need 3 votes for this to go forward, it probably won't.
2.
I think we do. I think it's a majority of
It's
the
the majority.
commissioners present.
So what could get you closer?
I just spent 10 minutes.
I know.
Yeah,
So-
may I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
And I guess, we've definitely been honored to work on many of the Oregon City Park master plans. And I would say with all of them, they have continued to evolve as we get more information, as time passes. So I guess one way to approach this, and we will be doing a document, is to say that this is what is included in the master plan, but this particular area needs to be further studied. Now, I know that that's not a concrete solution, but I think with all these different pieces that we've described, we will continue to refine and elaborate them, and I'm sure we'll be back at some future date with this commission, along with support of engineers, structural engineers, people that know this intimately.
That's not enough to convince me.
Okay.
I'm voting on a master plan, and what I see is what I'm voting on, so I
Go
won't
ahead,
vote
Bill.
on it.
I was just going to say, in terms of the vote, just checking the charter, for a vote, you need a majority of the commissioners present. So if there's 3 commissioners present, two votes is approval.
Yes. Well, I think a couple of things are coming back, so
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be bringing back.
well,
So,
we're looking at alternatives for the dump station getting off there, so that means that configuration where it is now is going to probably change a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Yes, we would eliminate where it's currently shown on the plan. And then it is just a question of whether we are doing a study on where it may be located.
Well, I think we have to know that. We need it to be somewhere. We know it's needed.
but
Not
it
like
wouldn't
we
be a
can't have
part,
dump
it
station.
wouldn't be a part of this plan. So we're removing it, and we would still look for another location, but I think the consensus was to remove it. So it wouldn't be a part of this final master plan.
No, but I'm saying that the companion piece to it is we have to come up with some place where it is. We can't, I don't think we can have an RV park without having a dump station.
Well,
Somewhere.
the RV.
It might not be there, but it's.
Well, the RV park is already, the units are already inclusive. You don't necessarily need, you don't need a dump station.
But it's nice to have one.
The reason why we put the dump station in there was because when we were doing the public engagement, the community said that they would like to have a dump station, but the consensus of the city commission is that it needs to be located to a different site. So in this plan, there won't be a dump station. So that will be removed.
Okay.
And if I may add one clarifying point to that, because of where the current RV park is at, it's well within the 1 to 2 year floodplain. so
Yes, we wanted out of that.
We can't have any sewer hookups there, but in its current or in its proposed location, it's going to be in the, I think it's about the 100-year floodplain, so we can provide full hookups.
Perfect.
So for that RV park, we would not need the dump station.
Yeah, the dump station is there for the convenience of.
I guess that's a question. If they were able to provide full hookups for each spot, so essentially you purchase a spot for the night, you're able to hook up and utilize the sewer hookup. Do we need
A dump station?
a dump station?
And
Because essentially we're providing it for our
Right,
paying
no,
users.
I don't think we do, but I think maybe the public wasn't understanding that the sites were going to be fully hooked up. So that's probably why I think that it came back into the thing like, oh, we need a dump station because they need someplace to dump, not understanding that we're talking about providing hookups. So if we're doing hookups, you don't need a dump station.
Yeah, and I mean, we could certainly do a study to look at where it would be appropriate. And the hard part is it's kind of like holiday parking lots, right? It's not every day, and I agree. There are times when that thing gets backed up. And it tends to be on a Monday after a weekend,
Yes.
right?
People coming
Tuesday,
home.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
It's never an issue, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about this, like, where would we want to put something like that in our community? If we're providing the full service, much better than what we have now.
Right, much
For
better.
the paying user, do we,
How about next to Wes?
well, or West Lynn. But,
I love that you said that.
so I guess is that part of the conversation you want to continue to have? Like, to think about it in that context?
I think we can think about it in that context. If we're doing full 100% hookups, we don't need a dump station there.
Well, I guess that's the question.
I'm supporting no dump station because we're going to be fully hooked up. I am totally okay with that.
I think there's,
But I think we can look at the possibility of having a dump station someplace else, but not connected to the master plan. This is, if we do a dump station, I want it to be a moneymaker so we can make money so it pays for itself if we're going to be providing that service. And it's parallel but separate from the master plan. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to us. You need another vote.
yeah, I guess I'm worried of saying no dump station at all because
I
we
didn't
have
say it all.
Okay.
I said no dump station.
Yeah.
We're saying not there, but we're going to explore where we could possibly put one and come back, but not link it directly to the Clackamas Park master plan so we can move the master plan forward.
And the other question I have, so if we remove the RV dump from the back of the RV park area, I assume that it doesn't take a big thought to, but prior to that, what was there was just parking, right?
Right.
Yes,
Parallel parking against the
vehicular
backside.
parking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we get some more spaces there?
For,
Auto parking?
Yeah.
No, RVs.
Yeah. I think it was on the plan. I don't know how it was on the plan. I think it was.
Car parking, but not,
Not trailer parking.
yeah, we don't
It
have.
could be redesigned to increase the number of RV spots.
Right. So, and I'm also thinking about the people, I think I mentioned to you very early on that I know people that come here, they have a self-contained vehicle, they like to kayak at Clackamas Park, they want to be able to use the RV park, and they were told no, they couldn't because So we need to make, I mean, it's like one of those, you call those van conversion things. They take the Mercedes step vans and then
Renters.
it's fully a camper or whatever it's called. I don't know. We would be able to accommodate those types of vehicles as well?
Are those, I'm not quite sure if I'm familiar, are those the size of trailers?
No, they're kind of like
Jacob, maybe you could bring up the plan just so we're.
the big, they're like those Mercedes-Benz vans that people have been doing conversions. And
Yeah, but within the regular park by what would be the old boat ramp.
Right.
Essentially would be the
There's some
river
parking there.
access there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, I mean, there'd be spaces here for
Yeah.
them to access the
Yeah,
river.
they could
set
access the
down.
river with their kayaks. They would leave their
Yeah.
Yeah.
fully
Yes.
contained vehicle at the RV park and could go
Yeah.
camping. So yeah, so maybe we need to reconfigure that other, where you've got the vehicle parking, maybe to get some more RV spaces.
I don't believe we'll be able to get more RV spaces in that specific location. We can get more parking, which would accommodate the bigger size events that we're going
So
to
we're
be
talking
having.
about parking for what?
So it's overflow, like car parking. So we still need that level of parking as well. So we still could add the number of spaces that we currently have by removing that dump station.
Okay, well, like I said, I want to make sure that we can accommodate a range of these recreational type vehicles. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a car with a trailer or a truck with a trailer. It's these, I wish I could give you a picture of it, but you see them all over the place. Everybody's doing it.
Okay.
We had a place up in Park Place right there where Park Place Wood Products is, they were doing van conversions. So, okay, that help?
So we're approved to move forward.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, approved.
Oh my God.
For Kendall's sake, if this, you could, the way I'm hearing it.
Yes, that, exactly.
Adam,
Thank you, Jacob. That's exactly what I was talking about, that picture that you just had up there.
I think we've got, I
If
guess,
Adam made a motion and supported this, I'm assuming the mayor then could second it and it would go through. So
right
that
now.
he would, so that's a possibility if you're ready.
I either need a motion approving this,
Right,
or we are bringing this back.
right.
for
You ready to
further
make a
discussion.
motion, Adam?
I thought we were going to bring it back.
You thought we were going to bring it back? We just took out the dump station.
Oh, right.
We're going to look at the possibility of having a dump station someplace else. It's not going to be strictly tied to the master plan.
Yeah, right. And then the other concern with the path width.
We can address that.
We can address that. They're going to address that, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, in that case, I move to approve the Clackamas Park master plan.
I'll second. Or approve moving it forward, or approving moving it forward correctly? Okay. All right.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
No,
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
You still have your Mercedes van thing that you just pulled up? That's it.
Okay.
Is that, what are those called? It's a Sprinter van. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. That's what people are cruising around in these days. And we could accommodate those at the
Yes.
RV park?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, we can. Great.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the second reading of ordinance number 21-1013, an ordinance withdrawing territory from the Clackamas River Water District. I don't know if there's anything more we need to say about it. Is there? Anybody have any questions? Nope. Okay, let's have a motion.
well, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Which,
Item 9C.
wait, 7C? No.
9C.
Hold on.
9.
Yeah.
We already did 7C.
John Lewis.
Do we need any
I have a
more?
question.
You have a question for John Lewis? Okay. I think it's pretty clear, but you can answer the question, but you don't need to do the big, long staff report. Unless you have slides, John.
I do not have any slides, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, John, the question is, on the withdrawal areas that are on the map in red, who collected the SDCs on those? Was that Oregon City and South Fork, or was it CRW?
No, those were all Oregon City and South Fork. So as they developed, we absorbed those, annexed, redeveloped. So yeah, we collected the SDCs for those.
Okay, so the SDCs from those all would go towards our water treatment plant,
all have
not just
gone.
CRW?
Just to make clear, if it developed after it was annexed into the city would have collected the SDCs. If any development occurred prior to
the
annexation,
annexation.
it likely would have gone to CRW. We wouldn't have seen it. But if it's in the city, we should receive the SDCs.
So, I mean, that's the only concern with these kind of areas is that you know, as quick as, and that's why we want to make sure we're doing this as quick as possible so that
In the future.
we're catching those. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
these are, so yeah, Bill's right. My familiarity with these areas is they all developed under Oregon City. There might have been a home there, so we've absorbed some. So there might have been some of those old county houses that were connected to the CRW system. I'm not sure CRW had SDCs back then,
Probably
but
not.
Okay.
we collected them as they developed.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would say the only question I had is that we're withdrawing, like on map item 2C, those areas aren't developed, and we're still trying to figure out how to serve them. 2D is probably the same scenario. Let me see if I can spend this. Yeah, Myers Road out in there as well. That's a little different. We know we can deal with that. It's 2C that is my concern. But
You see, we've got water and sewer too.
Yeah, some of those areas, we've got service to it already. So, yeah, 2C, 2D, but you're right, they're underdeveloped. That's what you're,
Yeah.
and so as they develop, they will come into the city. As they build buildings that utilize that demand, they'll be paying South Fork and city SDCs.
I thought we were trying to figure out where to put a reservoir in the 2C area, because we're going to
I
totally
think
be able to
that's
get there.
more for the area south, down by the golf course, a little
Yeah.
bit across from 2D and the 2F area.
2F, yeah,
A little further south.
yeah, okay, all right, I'm
that's
good.
correct.
Hey, can we have a motion? Unless there are any further questions? Get to do one.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance number 21.
Go ahead.
He did.
Okay, sorry. I move to approve the second reading of ordinance number 21-1013, an ordinance withdrawing territory from the Clackamas River Water District.
Second.
All right, let's have the roll call. Oh, no, go ahead, Bill.
An ordinance number 21-1013, an ordinance of the City of Oregon City withdrawing territory from the Clackamas River Water District.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
and Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, item 9D, second reading of ordinance 22-1004, amendments to 1704, dealing with the flood management overlay district, and we did this at our last meeting, and it is incumbent upon us to pass this tonight so that we can make the deadline for FEMA.
I move to approve the second reading of ordinance number 22-1004, amendments to the Charter 17.04.
Chapter, not charter.
Chapter. I don't know that I need to read the whole thing
No.
anyway.
Okay, second, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Bill.
Ordinance number 22-1004, an ordinance adopting amendments to Oregon City Municipal Code, Title 17, zoning of the Oregon City Municipal Code related to the floodplain code.
Commissioner Rocky Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl,
Aye.
and Commission President Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, staff, for getting this moving so that we can help save our community some money. All right, Mr. Conkle, do you have any communications?
No, not tonight, thank you.
Commissioners, any communications? All right, so I will adjourn this meeting, and we will re-adjourn in in minutes for the executive session.
Thank you.